What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with SPY, Tesla, NVIDIA, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the market moving forward and talk about some very important levels and what you should be watching for as time goes on. But just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, what's happening with the market is we are seeing a decline right now for the indices and also for the overall market as a whole, and we're starting to see us testing some very, very critical supports. Now, this is all happening amidst something very, very important for tomorrow. Please remember that tomorrow is going to be Friday, and 30 minutes after the market opens, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech. Now, whatever this guy says will have a big effect on the markets. It may cause the market to rebound. It could cause a big rug pull. So we have to be very ready for that. He may use Jackson Hole to basically hint about how fast or how far the Fed will go when it comes to cutting rates. It's a possibility. I mean, I personally don't think he's going to give us too many insights. He could confirm a rate cut. It is a possibility, but he's typically very, very ambiguous when it comes to things like these. So we'll see what he ends up saying at Jackson Hole. And then on top of that, I just wanted to mention that there's currently a 75.5% chance, according to the markets, that the Fed gives us a 25 basis point cut and 24.5% chance we get a 50 basis point cut. Now, this will be heavily impacted by what Jerome Powell says, so get ready for all of that. So that's the next big catalyst for the market coming out for tomorrow, so we'll see how things go. But for now, let's talk about the charts. How are things looking? So in my earlier videos, I mentioned that SPY would likely push towards all-time highs. Our all-time high would be very, very close to the 564 area, depending on if your charts adjust or not. And basically, SPY came right back down. It came down just short of that at 563. So the first thing I'm going to be asking is, when you really zoom out like this, you're going to notice that SPY is once again taking a very, very big turn right now. So if I go back like this, you'll see we're forming basically a nice looking cup, and SPY is starting to decline. But the question is, will we get some kind of bounce? Okay. Will there be some kind of bounce with Jerome Powell's speech to establish a lower high to confirm the downtrend? Because what you want to do for the downtrend is this: you want to see if SPY, if we get some kind of rebound like this, and then we likely continue lower, this would be like a sign that we're starting to downtrend. If we end up breaking the high again, then we're going to be, back to bullish, but there's no sign of that yet. And we're going to be watching to see what ends up happening from here. But I'm not going to focus on any kind of rebound or anything like that quite yet. I just want to focus on the levels. So we have resistance at 558 on SPY, and our key supports at 556, that entire range in the 556s. If we lose 556, this is going to be our 4-hour 20 EMA. If we end up losing that, guys, it's not going to look good, because that's going to be a sign of weakness. If we get two closes below 556, we're going to likely see a big decline to at least 553, then eventually back to the 540s we go. So there's going to be a big drop coming if this support fails, and we're barely at support right now. So we look more bearish. We are favoring the downside. We do have Jerome Powell giving a speech for tomorrow, so it's going to be another catalyst. But for now, the charts look bearish, and we are favoring the downwards direction. For NVIDIA, we have a nice bearish divergence that has developed. I mentioned to everyone that if we get this rejection, we could be dipping back down to 124.7, excuse me. We're looking at that is now going to be our resistance alongside 126. If we don't reclaim that zone, we're at risk of dipping all the way down, in my opinion, to 122.5, and eventually this wick takes us down to 120. So watch those supports, the 122 and then 120 supports, and resistance at 124.7, not to mention 126. With the bearish divergence and this big rejection, there is a risk of this continuing to fall, and we could be dipping towards the 122 area. So I think NVIDIA is looking more bearish. Now, even if you are really bearish, just know we have Jerome Powell giving a speech tomorrow, so we'll see how that affects us. But for now, we're favoring the downside. Bitcoin's rejecting. We're losing support at 60,500. We're favoring 60,100. If that fails, look at 59,750, followed by these lower levels like the 58,800 area. We look more bearish on Bitcoin. Why? Because we pumped and we've been rejecting. We're down 1%. So it may continue to dip. For stocks like Tesla, Tesla's not looking too good. We have a bearish divergence and a rejection, but then we still have this trend line, which is barely holding Tesla right now. Look at this white line right here. We bounced off this 1, 2, 3 times. So are we going to bounce off this or not? If we close below this 2 times in a row, Tesla will likely decline more. We have support at 212 to watch for. If that breaks, we'll be dipping lower. If we hold this, we could try to rebound. But for now, I think Tesla's at risk of dipping to 212. And if that fails us, we're coming all the way down to 208. We look more bearish thus far. For ES, We're testing 5600 as resistance. If we don't break above that, we're at risk of dipping back down to the low at 5580, followed by 5560. So we look more bearish. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. For NQ, I predicted that we would see like 20,000, then a possible rejection. That's exactly where we went to, and we did reject, which is what I was talking about yesterday. So now we have 19,700 as resistance, and our support's at 19,500. I think this is going to likely dip lower. We look more bearish. The triple Q, we called out 485 as a tough resistance. If we had broken that, we would be pushing for 488. And if we lost that, it'd be a big rejection. And lo and behold, the rejection has come. So we're looking now at 475 as our support. If this fails us, we're going down to 473. And I think 475 is critical. So if we lose this support here, there's actually going to be a bigger drop. We might not stop at 473. We'd probably just keep tipping to the low 470s. Our resistance is going to be at our 20 EMA at 477. If we break that, we're looking for basically just under 480, like 477, and then 480 above that. But I think that the odds are favoring the downside. We look more bearish, and there's likely more downside coming. So I just want to give you guys a heads up about that. Supermicro pumped. I was predicting yesterday we'd hit like 635 and then reject. We came short of that, and then we ended up projecting. We're barely holding support around 600, so this might dip lower. For the IWM Russell 2000, there's a bearish divergence and a rejection. Now we're just range trading between 213 and 216. We're stuck in the middle. This might dip a little bit lower to the trend lines, but we still look more bearish. For Coinbase, we're stuck in the middle. We are looking a little bit more bearish. If 200 doesn't hold, we could be dipping for like 197. Looks a bit more bearish to me. Amazon's looking more bearish because we lost this trend line right here. So we were holding this support. See the big white trend line? We've been holding this for many weeks. Now we're kind of rejecting. So we need to reclaim 180 to turn back up. Otherwise, we're looking at 177 as support. If that does not hold, 175 is next. For Meta, there's a bearish divergence. We have resistance at 535 and support barely at 530, our 20 EMA. If that breaks, we're coming all the way down to 524. So we look kind of weak here. We're kind of rejecting. We look more bearish. Microsoft looks more bearish. We rejected off our 200 EMA. We're dipping lower. We could be looking for a test of about the 414 area. For Google looks a little bit more bearish as well. If we don't hold 166, so I did call out 166. That's the breakout area. That's where we had this confluence. Previous support. This is also resistance becoming support too, and also previous support. So it's 2 and 1, right? We have this very, very key zone at 166 acting as a magnet, and our key EMAs happen to be there at the 50 EMA. So watch this 166 area. If we lose this, we're going to be dipping to about 165. 164, excuse me. If we bounce, look for 169, just under 169. We look more bearish. Might continue to fall. If 166 fails, look for a bigger decline. That's what I'm seeing on the charts thus far. So that being said, the market is looking like it's going to be declining more. We look more bearish, but we haven't lost critical support yet. So if we do lose that, there's going to be a bigger drop coming. And whether or not that happens may depend on what Jerome Powell says, what kind of reaction we get from his speech. So be prepared, guys, and do what you have to do. With that being said, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys so much for listening. I'll be back in a couple of hours for another update. Take care, guys, and peace out.